All right. All right. I want to thank everyone for being with us today, and happy holidays as we celebrate signing day in addition to the holidays. So Coach Hammock is here, and we'll let him, talk about the class that was signed today. And Coach?
Yeah, yeah. This is always a fun time, exciting time for the season. Obviously, they pushed the date back a little bit from what it's normally been. It's a little bit closer to Christmas. But certainly a great start for us as far as we consider this the first phase of signing. Obviously, signing day is a lot different than what it's been in the past. There's a lot more ways to construct your roster than what has been in the past. And this is just the first phase for us, and we couldn't be more excited about how we've been able to add to our football team. And the one thing about any signing day, you got to have a long-term vision and a short-term vision. And I think for us, with the guys we were able to sign, we had a long-term vision of filling some needs, guys that, developmental positions that we need to address, was able to address the offensive line, which was the big need for us with signing 4 guys, was able to address the tight end position, which is also a developmental position, was able to address the defensive line position and the quarterback position. Those are, premium positions for us as a program as we look at it, positions that take a little bit more time to develop, guys that need to be in your program, get in the weight room, and get acclimated from a strength, from a work ethic standpoint. And then obviously you can fill in some holes through some other ways. But couldn't be more excited. Was able to add some playmakers in the class. I'll just kind of go down the list. Santana is a young man, a safety from Georgia. He'll be here in January. A playmaking safety, a big-time player, 6'3". He's 195 pounds now, and couldn't be more excited about him. We were able to add him to our class because of Mason Kidd. He's a teammate of Mason Kidd, and Mason Kidd explained to us how big time of a player he was. And so when we watched his tape, we fell in love with Santana, and he and Mason Kidd will be here in January. Grayson Barnes is a tight end, playmaking tight end, a young man that we had a chance to evaluate and get around. We flew out to California twice to see him, had him on campus recently, and really is a guy that we felt like was a must-have for us at the tight end position, a guy that's critically important as we continue to develop and evolve our offense to be more dynamic at that position, and somebody that we feel like can come in and make an immediate impact and be quarterback friendly. He will be here in January as well. I think a theme of our class, we're going to have 10 guys come mid-year, 4 guys here, and then 6 transfers that we will announce at a later date that's going to be here, and that's important as you continue to build our team for the 2023 season. Phillip Baines, an athletic defensive player that we were able to find in Georgia. He's a state champion triple jumper, also a dynamic basketball player, athletic guy. We're going to put some size on him, but he's a guy that's athletic, explosive, has some flexibility in the regard that he can rush the passer and play in coverage, and we like what he can do as a defensive player for us. Dingle is a running back, a junior college All-American running back. His last 2 games, I believe he had 61 carries, so he's a guy that can handle a tremendous workload. He gets stronger as the game goes along. He's about 6'2", 226 pounds, with good feet and balance. He's a guy that can break tackles and a guy that we feel like can, really play behind his pads and move us forward as an offense. Zach Gordon is a kicker. We obviously know special teams is very important. and having a kicker that can come in here. He'll be here in January as well and give himself a chance to compete. Bryce Harrison, a tight end from Florida, kind of a dual threat tight end, a guy that can put his hand on in the dirt and be a pass catching threat. He's actually Shaq's nephew, so he's got the genes to be a tremendous tight end for us. Mark Hensley is a defensive tackle from Missouri. A quick thing about Mark, he has 16 sacks as an interior defensive lineman, and that's hard to do at any level. But he's a guy that we feel like can be disruptive as a defensive lineman, and we feel good about him coming in here and having a chance to, contribute at an early age. Michael Jameer, offensive lineman. Like I said, we wanted to really, bring in a lot of offensive linemen in the class. We know they take time to develop, and Michael's a guy that we had in camp, really like what he's about, and feel like he has a bright future in our program. Mason Kidd, young quarterback. He'll be here in January. Had a chance to have him at camp, seen him throw live, has all the tools from the quarterback position, has the leadership qualities that we look for, and excited to get him in the quarterback room in January and have a chance to work with him. Tommy Pash, lineman from Green Bay, had him in camp. The one thing, all of our linemen, O-line, D-line, we love to get him at our camp and work with him. He came to our camp, did a phenomenal job. Feel good about him and what he can have a chance to do in our program under the development of Coach A. Jalen Poe, running back from Dallas, Georgia, about 5'10", 210 pounds, a thick back that's very physical, can catch the ball, can be a three-down player. One thing that was very, very impressive with Poe is sitting at his table. He's a very, very intelligent football player when you talk football with him, so I was impressed with him. Rashawn Randall, defensive end from Cass Tech. We've done well at Cass Tech. James Esther has played phenomenal in our program, and going there and getting Randall, a guy that we've known about for a long time and feel like he can be a dominant player off the edge with his elusiveness. Uses his hands well, can finish and bend at the point of attack. Makai Rowe was a guy that we've seen. He played quarterback and defense. Obviously, when you look at quarterbacks, they're normally the best athletes on the team, and Makai is certainly that, a guy that can return kicks, punt returner, but he's a guy that we feel like he can play multiple positions on the back end of our defense, and we're very excited about him. Navi Sanders, the defensive end that we got from junior college, that he will be here in January as well. So, the thing is, you always want to try to balance the class and bring some guys in early that can have a chance to come in and go through spring ball and get acclimated. And he's a young man that's a speedball. With Mike Kennedy graduating, we felt like we needed to bring another type guy like Mike Kennedy to come into the program and get after the quarterback. Luke Scartreet from Indianapolis, offensive lineman, a center, guy that's nasty, physical, aggressive, plays basketball. Really the center position is one that's really, really important for our offense and kind of dictates how we play up front. And we feel really good about him. Jay Sean Thomas, a tight end. The theme for us was getting playmaking tight ends, guys that can block, guys that can be a threat in the passing game. And Jay Sean was the guy we had at camp. We felt good about. He was extremely physical. He was dynamic as a pass catcher. And as he continues to grow, he's a guy that we feel like can do a lot of things for our offense. Kyle Thomas is a wide receiver that grew on us throughout the recruiting process. He long, athletic, started as a quarterback at Marian Catholic, but transitioned to a wide receiver, tremendous ball skills. He'll gain some weight, and we look for big things from him. And then lastly, Jacob Welsh, offensive lineman, big, physical blocker. Young man wants to be a coach, and just a tremendous young man that we feel like can come in here, learn our offense, and teach it to the other young offensive linemen. So great start, as we talked about in the recruiting process. And this is just the first phase. The second phase for us will be when school starts and we bring in some transfers, and then we'll announce those at that point. But we will look to bring in 10 guys mid-year to add to spring practice and continue to build our roster for 2023.
So, Coach, a good chunk of this class comes from Florida and Georgia. How do you think you've done recruiting from those two states in recent years as well as this class?
No, I think, obviously, the majority of our recruiting is going to start in the Midwest, in particular Illinois. I think we've done well there, and we will continue to do so. But then we try to supplement some skill positions from a little further, and we've been able to add some guys from Florida and Georgia, and the coaches have done a great job evaluating guys that fit our program and how we do things within our program, and guys that fit academically as well.
I mean, would you have expected that, when you took over this job, or even earlier, that the most recruits would have been from Georgia? I mean, it seems like you had a lot of success there and everything. Is that something, like I said, you would have expected? Or?
Yeah, really, the most recruits is from Illinois. When you add in, the guys that walked on or that will be walking on our program, I mean, that's a big part of, how we build our roster. And, a small tidbit, we actually have 8 guys that's going on scholarship in January that were former walk-ons. So a big part of the way we build our program and the way we build our team is adding walk-ons into the program and guys that we feel like can add value to our football team, and walk-ons are a big part of it. And so last Sunday, we had all of our PWOs come in, and most of them are from Illinois, and we consider those guys as recruited guys in the program, and they will be announced at a later date.
You said there were 8 of them?
8 what?
I'm sorry, I thought you said a number. I'm sorry.
No, there are 8 kids in our program that's going on scholarship in January, that were former walk-ons.
You can't touch on any of those kids right now, like in terms of talking about them.
No,
Right?
walk-ons coming for next year, we can't announce until February.
You mentioned kind of the differences in recruiting these days from just a few years ago. Just what are some of the challenges you face in terms of balancing, recruiting these high school kids and then bringing in transfers to, build for the future and for the future?
Yeah, I mean, some of the differences are, it wasn't too long ago, the only way to improve your team was through National Signing Day. But now, with the evolution of, the transfer portal and everything else, there are multiple ways that you can, enhance your team. And so you look at it, I talked to my staff the other day, there are 4 phases to improving your team. You got this signing day, you have the first day of classes, when you can bring transfers into your program. You have the second signing day in February, and then obviously you have, after the spring semester, those are the 4 opportunities that you have to improve your team for next season. And so at each point, you have to look at where you're at, what are the areas that you need to improve, and who are the players out there that can help improve your football team.
Coach, so I know that there's going to be 78 heads to walk-ons and transfers to account for. How do you see guys like Dingle and Cole making an impact in your running back room, especially after losing 3 of your top 4 backs to the portal?
Yeah, I think, for us, I think our offensive line is still in place. And so with the line that we have in place, I think guys can come in here and have a chance to contribute. And I think that's important. I mean, our offensive line leads the way for our offense. And so with the line that we have guys that you can bring in here and they can be plug-and-play type players along with guys that we have in the program already.
I'll shoot another one. So looking at Zach Bourne real quick, I think this will be the first time since you started coaching that you had 3 kickers on your roster outside of John and Ken. Was there kind of a motive behind adding that 3rd kicker this year?
No, I mean, you always want to increase the competition, you know, at kicker. I think that's important. I mean, it's just something that you want to constantly evaluate and make sure you got enough depth. You know, this year showed us that injuries can happen at any point, and you never want to take anything for granted. And so bringing Zach into the program, and he's going to be here in January, and give himself an opportunity to come compete at the kicker position.
How's the last month or so about for you guys as a staff, you know, coming off the end of last year, you know, in terms of, like you said, then, you know, the introspection and stuff, and seeing what you guys need to improve. Just how's that gone in the last month?
No, it's been good. I mean, we've had time to evaluate and look at tape and assess things that, you know, we need to be better at as a staff, things we need to be better at as a program, and areas that we can improve upon. And I think we've taken that time to assess those things as well as, you know, go on the road and recruit. And I think today is obviously a chance for us to sign the class and a great start to that. But continue to see, okay, where are the areas that we can continue to improve upon as we continue to move forward.
How do you feel about, you know, how this tight end's kind of developing? You get kind of Tristan and Miles coming back from injury as well. You have these 3 just out of this class. How do you feel about having that quarterback tight end option kind of go over the offseason?
No, the tight end position is big for our offense. And what I noticed over the second half of the season is, you know, we had some tendencies of how people played us when certain guys were in the game, and we have to get away from those tendencies. And we were more run heavy in certain personnel groupings, and we have to be able to make people pay in the passing game with our tight ends, and that's what we went out there and tried to attack. And I think that, you know, that's what we'll work on this offseason.
That Mason kid was coming in January?
Yes.
How important is that then for to get a quarterback in here just a little bit sooner and start getting him acclimated?
Well, I think, you know, the quarterback position, you know, it takes some time, but he'll have a chance to learn from some guys in the quarterback room of what it takes to play the quarterback position. You know, learning from Rocky, learning from Ethan, learning from Justin, learning from Nevin, of what it takes, how to lead. I think that will give him a step to move forward. And, you know, he's got some guys in front of him, but it will at least get him closer to being prepared for the season if need be. If we ran into a situation like we ran into this past season, at least he gives himself a chance to be further along.
What's this group say about how you feel about your wide receivers right now? Because I noticed there's only one wide receiver in the group. Is that kind of a confidence what you got going on at wide receiver right now, or is that more going to be addressed in the later 3 phases like we talked about?
Well, you know, I mean, getting Trayvon Rudolph back helps. We got some really talented young wide receivers that are being developed, and then we have a receiver that'll be here in January. So, you know, we feel good about the wide receiver position, but we really feel good about the young receivers in the program that are being developed, and going to give them every opportunity to grow within the program and see what they can do.
Coach, I just had a question about, there's a lot of diversity of this class. You have 9 different, every position group was addressed in these 18 players, plus I think 10 different states. How do you cast that wide net and zero in on these people that we got today?
No, it's a lot of moving parts. I can tell you that. You know, when it all comes together today, you can relax. But there's a lot of things happening, a lot of emotions going on. But we are certainly happy with the guys that we got. But to get to this point, you you know, I can't say that, hey, that we were trying to get here. We're just happy we got here.
And it started like at least a year ago, right? At least.
No, yeah, no, we've known these kids a long time, and obviously there's a lot of, you know, moving pieces, but we're happy with the start of how we've been able to collect this group of talent, and like I said, we got a lot more pieces coming in the next 3 weeks.
Coach, do you have like a favorite part of this last month, like since the season ends, leading up to this day? Is there a favorite part to you about just going out on all these recruiting trips and stuff?
A favorite part, maybe that it's over. Maybe that's the favorite part. At least it's over for these guys. Then we'll start focusing on another group here, you know, when school starts.
Anything else today?
Yeah, I'll shoot one last one. So you mentioned how with this recruiting process, you found other players with them, like with Kid and then as well as, sorry, Kid and Banner, as well as in Cass Tech, Restaurant. Have you been able to find any other talent you might want to go after from these schools to get this person?
Yeah, no. There are a lot of players. You know, what people don't realize is there are more players available than spots that you can take. And so, you know, we try to make sure we get to know the kids and make sure they are the right fit for our program and make sure they got the right work ethic, the right academic profile, and they're going to fit with our team. And so there are a ton of guys out there. And so when we try to vet them as best as possible, get to know them, get to see them, and go to their houses and talk to them. And when we find the right fit, then we try to make sure we can try to make them a part of our program.
Anything else for Coach Hammock today? All right, well, thank you guys for being here. Thanks, Coach, for taking the time, and have a great rest of 2022, everyone.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.